I'm speaking with Stateside Press, and I'm here with Anthony Romero, who returns to action against JJ Okanovich on September 5th at Fury Fighting FC 50. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So you're 12 days out. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm super excited. It's been a little while, but I guess you could say the rest has been nice. Even though I've been training since my last fight, just kind of building on my skills, becoming a better fighter, a smarter fighter, and yeah, I'm just excited to display my skills next weekend.
That's awesome to hear. A couple questions for you. First, where did the genius come from?
Yeah, so the genius came from just my work ethic, just being smart. I train hard, but I also understand my body and make sure that I take the smart approach when I'm training, making sure I'm doing certain things on certain days, listening to my body. And also when I fight, I take that smart approach. I'm not one of those guys who is a brawler who just kind of throws for no purpose at all. So I kind of like to pick out certain things on my opponent. As you can see in my Contender Series fight with those low calf kicks, just picking out little weaknesses that my opponent has and just kind of chopping away and building the win from there. So
I mean, makes sense. Makes sense. That's a genius way of fighting. um, and then genius fighting in MMA. So is that your own gym, or is it like just kind of like a lifestyle kind of like thing?
yeah, I have my own gym. I work for myself, which is kind of what you want to do as an MMA fighter. It's hard to have other jobs. I've done it before where you work from a certain time to a certain time, and then it's hard. You have that conversation with your boss where you're like, well, I can't really work these certain hours, but they don't really care, right? So it's nice to work for myself. I make my own hours. I have certain times for private lessons and all that stuff, and then the rest of the day is free for myself to train or to relax or do what I have to do. So everything's been good so far, especially with the lockdown going away for now. And yeah, just I love it. I love teaching.
I thought that you were in Vegas for a while. Are you still there?
No, not anymore. I think I've been home for about a month now. Just went over there to train at Syndicate MMA with John Wood and those guys, and just getting a different perspective on things. Training with high level guys in the UFC, PFL, Bellator, all those huge organizations, and it was really cool to get get that different experience.
Um, so you're usually very active, fighting at least twice a year. I guess I don't know. Has it been nice to kind of take a break from active competition, or was it kind of not your choice?
Um, a little bit of both. It was nice to not relax, but kind of take my head out of that competition aspect. It's a little bit different from just regular training and then training for a fight. A lot more stress involved and pressure and all that stuff. But yeah, it was nice, and a lot of it wasn't really my doing. It was just like parting ways with management and finding new management, and then finding new fights and stuff, and then people pulling out of fights and all that. I believe I was supposed to fight in June, but then that fight fell through. Trying to fight for the Fury title, and then the champion declined the fight, and all this stuff. So just following the journey, and it's happened to me before, and I know I'm sure it'll happen again after this. So I'm glad to have an opponent now. He's ready to rock and roll, and so am I, and we're ready to put on a show. So yeah, just excited, and again happy for the opportunity to fight on Fury.
I'm sure you had many offers from different organizations. Why did you choose Fury FC?
They've been strong lately. They've been getting guys in the UFC. I believe the episode of Looking for a Fight just came out, and they had a few guys that got into the UFC right away. They're on Fight Pass, so they're a bigger organization. They have a good relationship with the UFC. So I just want to display my skills on a show like that, and yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your last fight real quick. It's been 8 months. How did you feel with Zach? How did you feel about that performance?
I'm not too happy with it. I know I can do much better than that. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of things that went into that fight that weren't the best. I was fighting like ear infections, skin infections. I never really talked about it because I don't like bringing those things up, but it's so far out from that fight, and that's in the past. But getting over that stuff, like antibiotics, just ruin your system. And yeah, like I'm fresh now. I'm ready to rock, and I know from that fight it was more heart than anything because I know that fight wasn't going the best. But then towards the end, I really knew I had to push, especially with that live scoring. I knew it was tied 1-1, so I really had to dig deep that last round to get that win. And I know I can really push to that limit. So
If you could take one thing away from that fight, what would it be?
um, hmm, good question. I think just knowing that I can push to that limit. Like if I have to brawl with someone, then I know I can. Or if I have to change up the fight, if I have to take someone down, I know I can. If I have to change any course of the fight, I know that that's a possibility. Even though I didn't feel the best for that fight, it's not like I'm gonna take my excuses and say, and then after the fight, that's why I lost. Like I gotta make sure, like no matter how I'm feeling, if my stomach's sick that day, I'm gonna give everything I got for that fight, and I know that I can. So when I'm fresh, like I am now, like I'm excited because I know I'm gonna have a great performance.
JJ Okanovich. I do find it interesting that both you guys were on the Contender Series, and both you did not get signed. Obviously, your snub was much bigger and made much bigger waves. Um, I mean, had you heard of him prior to you signing the contract?
I did not, and that's not a knock on my. I honestly didn't know who he was. But then I looked him up and saw he was in the Contender Series. So this fight really made sense because we were both in Contender Series. We're both super close to getting to that next level. We both fought tough competition. So it's going to be an exciting fight. It's just a clash of styles. Our last fight was around the same time. I think his was like January, mine was December. So we both had that same kind of layoff. And yeah, it's going to be an exciting fight. I know he's going to be ready. So am I, and I I'm excited. Like I'm really excited. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. It's tough when you have a goal in mind, you have dreams, and there's a halt to it. And especially when it's not under your doing, it's other things outside. So just controlling what I can, and yeah, next weekend is the day.
You kind of touched on it, but how do you like that matchup?
It's exciting. It's exciting. It's a good one. It's a big one. I feel like whoever wins this one will get to that next level. Like it has to be impressive. Like either I finish him or he finishes me, and we get to that Contender Series or UFC like level. And that's what we're both going for. We're looking for that big finish, and yeah, that's kind of like the title for this fight is that opportunity with the UFC.
You have a prediction for the fight?
A finish. I'm going for the finish. Not forcing it. I know naturally it's just gonna come. I've done it before where I've either tried to force the finish and it doesn't happen, and then there's other fights where I don't force it and I barely feel the punch and the guy falls down and I win by knockout. So it's just naturally like just gonna come. Just being patient, being smart, and whatever happens in the fight, I know I've been through it already and I'm prepared.
So you could have easily been in the UFC by now. And so does that snub and everybody, kind of behind you, and then just the fact that Dana White passed on you, I mean, has that made you even hungrier? Like you're coming into this fight hungry to, I mean, gonna come in and just try and maul this guy?
Oh yeah, every fight, no matter what the opportunity or that, like whatever opportunity it is, I'm always looking to finish a fight. I'm always hungry. I'm always looking to get to that next level. These fights aren't jokes or anything like that. Like, you get in there and anything can happen. So whatever happened, it's actually, I weighed in about a year ago from the Contender Series. So whatever happened from that fight, like, I know it happened for a reason, and everything outside the UFC that's helped me prepare for the UFC. So I'm getting better. So it's gonna suck when I get into the UFC. All those guys are gonna have to deal with me. And like, I'm getting better this whole time. And maybe I would have gotten to the UFC a year ago, and I would have went 0-2 in the UFC with tough fights, and then I would have been cut. All right. So I'm happy that I had this opportunity to practice, build my mental game, my physical game, and just develop as a fighter. And once I get in there, I know for sure I'm gonna be ready.
How was training camp?
Oh, amazing, amazing. I came from Vegas. I trained there with all those guys, and then it was nice because everything opened up back here in Canada, so I was able to continue my training camp at home with my training partners and everything, and practice some of the things I worked on in syndicate. And it was nice because when you practice the same thing with the same guys, they kind of catch on to the same moves. So when I come back and I use things I was practicing at a different gym, it kind of works out a little bit easier, and you can mix in some old stuff with some new stuff. And that's going to be like, when I go to my gym, it's like going into a fight because they don't really know what to expect or anything like that. So you kind of see how things work and how things play out. So it's nice. Everything's been good, and now it's just pretty much making the weight.
And finally, kind of give me your thoughts on the state of Canadian MMA.
We're getting there. We're getting there. We have some good guys in the UFC now, but there's a lot of us outside of the UFC that are still trying to make waves. But for now, like, everyone who is Canadian in the UFC has been doing a great job representing. And yeah, just there's a lot more of us coming in. Like, we got two on the Contender Series this year with Aaron and Jazz, and they'll be going to the UFC very soon. And they're going to make huge waves in their divisions as well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, it was great to hear from you. Um, if you want to plug your social media, plug your sponsors, go right ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah, just genius_MMA on Instagram. Same thing for Twitter. I believe it's genius 905. And then I'm wearing the Never Tap T-shirt. They always support me for my training camps, so thank you to them. I have lots of other sponsors on my social media and everything. I thank. So if you follow me on social media, then you'll know for sure. And yeah, just my family, my management, my team. Just thank you guys for all the support, and ready to make waves next weekend.